Welcome back, dear listener. As you settle in tonight, I invite you to drift slowly through another layer of Jefferson County's past, where the echoes of war, the hum of machinery, and the quiet determination of families shape the story. Tonight's journey is longer, fuller, and even more detailed, woven with local names, memories, and moments passed down through stones, stories, and soil. So take a deep breath, let your shoulders drop, and walk with me now through the war years and the waves of change that followed. After the War of 1812, Madison Barracks became more than a military installation. It became the heartbeat of Sackets Harbor. Troops stationed there to drill every morning on the parade grounds, their boots striking the packed earth in perfect rhythm. Quartermaster records from the 1820s list daily rations of salt pork, hardtack, and beans. The officers' quarters were modest but proud. Enlisted men slept in long wooden barracks with straw mattresses and iron stoves. Captain Rufus King, Jr. wrote home in 1832, describing the biting lake winds that swept through the fort in the winter, and the camaraderie shared over pipe smoke and regimental dances. Children of officers formed their own community, attending lessons taught by the army wives and playing games under the shadow of old cannons. The garrison's band often played on the weekends, drawing townspeople to the fort's edge. Military and civilian life blended so easily in Sackets Harbor, where the line between soldier and neighbor was often little more than a fence post. By the 1840s, Watertown was a study of contrast, natural beauty, and industrial ambition. The Black River roared through town, powering not only mills, but imagination. Near Factory Square, John Adams operated a thriving paper mill. The Davis Carriage Company exported handmade wagons. Across from Public Square, Lucy Marble's millinery shop offered fashionable bonnets to refined ladies. On Arsenal Street, steam powered machines of the Watertown Woolen Company. Young women from outlying farms boarded together, worked 12-hour days, and attended evening classes to learn reading and writing. Horse-drawn streetcars rolled through the town starting in the 1860s, clattering past Galt House Hotel. On the corner of Washington Street, the Emerson family ran a bookstore that sold everything from hymnals to abolitionist pamphlets. By mid-century, Watertown was no longer just a mill town. It was an ambitious town, a modern town, a town alive with thought and purpose. In the southern half of Jefferson County, Rodman, Adams, Lorraine, Worth. The farms were large, the families close, and the land, she was demanding. The Tyler family in Rodman kept Holsteins and produced cheese that won ribbons at the county fair. The Jenkins family of Lorraine tapped hundreds of maple each spring, boiling sap in open-air sheds from dawn to dusk. Over on the Ridge Road, above the town of Henderson, the Van Allen farm was known for its heirloom beans and apple orchard. Local lore held that a Revolutionary War veteran planted the oldest tree, which still bore fruit well into the 1880s. Harvest time brought everyone together. Men raked wheat and tossed hay bales. Women prepared enormous meals: roast chicken, pies, biscuits, applesauce, all served under the trees near the barn. While the children, they carried the water, chased each other between the wagons, and snuck a few pieces of pie. In the winter, the land rested. Quilts were sewn, tools were sharpened, and families gathered by lamplight to tell stories of their ancestors and of survival. By 1850, nearly a quarter of Jefferson County's population had been born overseas. Catholic churches in Brownville and Watertown overflowed with Irish families on Sunday mornings. In Clayton and Cape Vincent, German settlers built Lutheran churches with the narrow windows and handmade pews. In Ellisburg, records mention that a Bavarian family brought cheese-making to their dairy farm. And the O'Donnells of Rutland hosted Irish dances with fiddles and laughter and stomping feet. Some newcomers kept a tight-knit community, speaking their native tongue and publishing local newsletters. Others married locals, built barns together, and blended tradition with each generation. Their names, once considered foreign, became street names: school teachers, bakers, and blacksmiths. They became Jefferson County. In 1851, the Watertown and Rome Railroad connected Jefferson County to the wider world. And with that connection, everything changed. Grain and cheese from Theresa reached Albany in a single day. Timber from Henderson Harbor found buyers in New York City. Young men and women boarded trains to seek new beginnings. Towns like Philadelphia and Lafargeville became busier, their depots the center of social life. Hotels and saloons and general stores grew up all around them. Watertown's Grand Union Station opened in the late 1870s. It had high ceilings, brass clocks, and rows of polished benches. The news? It came by wire, telegraph lines strung alongside the tracks, bringing headlines faster than a horse or ship ever could. But not all the news that arrived was good. The cholera outbreak in 1854 was traced to travelers arriving without symptoms. Still, the tracks remained. The future, it seemed, always rode in on a whistle. By the 1850s, almost every township had a one-room schoolhouse. In Rutland Hollow, Eliza Strong rang her brass bell each and every morning. Students recited multiplication tables, wrote with ink and slate, and they learned geography from well-worn maps. The Black River Academy, located also in Rutland, earned a statewide reputation for its rigor. Students studied Latin, philosophy, even astronomy. Its graduates became teachers, newspaper editors, and one would become one of New York's finest female superintendents, Ada Booth. Watertown's Union Hall hosted public debates and lectures on topics ranging from abolition to temperance. Young men recited speeches, while young women took shorthand notes and passed them hand to hand. Reform was a living thing in Jefferson County, discussed in barns, classrooms, and even in church pews. I want you to imagine in your mind Market Day and Public Square. You have vendors shouting prices, fiddle music spilling from the taverns, little children tugging on apron strings, just begging for a peppermint stick. Over on a corner, a peddler sells patent medicine. A preacher reads aloud from a worn Bible. And the horses, they wait patiently, hitched along railings with bells tied to their manes. 4th of July parades stretched from Glen Park to Evans Mills. Children carried flags. Veterans saluted with trembling hands. And after nightfall, families watched fireworks from blankets and hayfields. Moments that never made the history books. A woman lighting her kerosene lamp. A boy on Black River skipping stones. A letter arriving from a brother in Kansas, read slowly over supper. These are the heartbeat stories, the ones that linger, the ones that are passed on from generation to generation. Often stories were printed in the paper, like the following. Redwood Church organist is married to county officer in pretty ceremony at Redwood. Theresa, April 4th. A very pretty wedding occurred at St. Paul's Lutheran Church in Redwood on Wednesday at 7, when Miss Grace Evelyn Parker of Redwood and Miss Grace H. Bolson of this village were united in marriage by Reverend H. B. Kruss, pastor of the church there. They were unattended. The bride was gowned in independent blue chiffon with uneven hemline and a large Bertha collar of handmade lace. Her going-away suit was an ensemble of black crepe in modernistic design with the new shade, moderne. She wore a hat, gloves, and hose to match. The bride is the daughter of Mrs. Sarah Parker and the late Lauren Parker. She is a graduate of Syracuse University, Fine Arts course, and has conducted classes in piano music for some time in Redwood, Theresa, and Alexandria Bay. For the past 14 years, she has been an organist at St. Paul's Church. In college, she was a member of several sororities. The bridegroom is a graduate of Potsdam Normal School and Central University, Indianapolis, Indiana. He was former principal of Alexandria Bay High School and of Theresa High School. He is now a sealer of weights and measures for Jefferson County, a position that he has held for some time. He is chairman of the Legislative Committee of New York Associates of Sealers. He is a past master of Theresa Lodge. He's the director of the bank here and secretary of the Theresa Coal Company. Ever since he has resided here, he has been active in the affairs of the Methodist Church. He has been a teacher for a long term of years in the Sunday school and is a member of the school orchestra. This is the first marriage for the bride and the second marriage for the bridegroom, his first wife being Lillian M. Campbell Bolson, who died in 1927. Following the wedding, Mr. and Mrs. Bolson left on the evening train for New York, Atlantic City, and other points. They will reside in the Bolson home in Park Avenue of this village. And so ends our walk through time for tonight. A walk filled with firelight and factory steam, some fiddle songs and a railroad whistle, where every barn, bell tower, and well-worn trail once held someone's hope. The Jefferson County of mid-1800s was far more than lines on a map. It was a story told in work, in workshops, and in weathered hands and weathered barns. Next time, we'll step into the shadow of Civil War. We'll read letters from the front, listen to the voices of mothers and ministers, abolitionists and mourners. But for now, rest. Let your breath fall into the rhythm of a slower time, a quieter time. Let the past keep your company. Good night.